Yo, what's going on, everyone? On Train Records, Limp Bizkit's results may vary by Todd in the motherfucking shadows. Look, man, I've heard about Limp Bizkit. I've heard some songs. Not gonna lie, shit is ass. I'm not gonna be fake about it. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up with you. I don't think I would ever, like, in my free time, go out and listen to Limp Bizkit, okay? Would anyone nowadays do that? I don't know. Who knows? But let's see how they crashed and burned with results may vary. Take it away, Todd Shots.
When I first started getting into music as a kid, music discourse was dominated by shitty white guys. Well, I guess shitty white guys are always dominating the conversation, but I mean, like, as a topic. All we could talk about were these assholes and the music they liked, which was a broad spectrum of butt rock and shock rap that we were all convinced was the lowest point of pop culture history. Like, this was the music of the shittiest, date rapist jocks and bullies, and yet somehow also bullying victims who might snap and kill everybody. These artists were tasteless morons at best and moral outrages at worst, pandering to the very worst impulses of the worst guys you knew. And it's funny, it seems like we don't really feel that way anymore. Like, you look at all these guys now, like, a couple of them are still controversial for various reasons, but for the most part, these guys are all beloved elder statesmen of music. Even the kids like them. And for no other band is that more true, bafflingly, than Limp Bizkit!
I'm definitely not a part of those kids who like them.
Limp Bizkit was maybe the most hated band of my entire lifetime. More than Nickelback, more than Imagine Dragons, more than any of them.
Damn.
We don't work for critics. We don't write music for critics. I don't direct movies for critics.
Decades after their heyday, though, it seems like most of the public has switched out their haterade for ironic appreciatorade.
My crew, the freaks and the rejects, we found each other because of Limp. We were family.
Maybe it's more of like a white thing. You know, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's like, look, man, I don't have many white people around me most of the time. You know, I go to a school 60% Hispanic, 40% black. So it's just kind of like, I'm probably not, most likely not going to be in an area where people are listening to Limp Bizkit.
Because of Limp.
Which, I mean, it's probably a good thing. I don't like that.
I'm much happier to see the world come around on Limp Bizkit than I am for, say, Creed or Nickelback. Even though the worst Limp Bizkit song is way worse than the worst Nickelback song. As they came up in the late 90s and became the biggest rock band on earth, they were also despised by critics and haters as the worst band ever, slinging meathead riffs and ugly direct.
Like, I see the appeal 100%. Like, it's not like, it's not the worst thing ever. But, like, it's really just not for me. Like, I would just never, like, seek this shit out. But I see why people would like it.
Directionless anger, and led by the single most obnoxious man ever to hold a mic, Fred Durst, a douchey dipshit who couldn't rap.
Now I know y'all be loving this right here. L-I-M-P, Bizkit is right here.
But although I wasn't particularly a fan either, I don't remember ever feeling very hostile towards them. Largely because of a quote from Fred I read once that I can't find anymore. Something about how he thought success was going to solve all his problems, and yet he still woke up every day fatter, balder, and more riddled with anxiety than ever. I guess that's the thing about Fred Durst. Unlike Korn or Papa
Anxiety!
who all wore their
Keep on
pain on their sleeves, Limp Bizkit's angst was a lot more subtextual. Fred always seemed like a guy putting up a front, which made his music very unintentionally revealing. He was a fascinating man. There's a reason you know his name and not the guy from POD. People rag on him, but you couldn't ignore him. That said, even if you didn't think he was the downfall of humanity or whatever, it was very easy to get tired of him. After the disaster of Woodstock 99, most of the blame for which fell on Limp Bizkit, unfairly in my opinion, they released...
Bro, if you put me in that crowd, I'm instantly dying.
That follow-up was called
dead instantly.
Chocolate, Starfish, and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. An LP that hit the trifecta of being a terrible record with a terrible name and terrible cover art. Despite that, the fans ate that shit up. Where Significant Other was a very relatable scream of frustration and anger, Chocolate Starfish was the sound of a band getting way too high on themselves. This was a band who had conquered everything and knew it. That must have shut up the haters forever, right?
Hey kid, take my advice. You don't wanna step into a big pile of shit.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Good
I'll take that in
Good
stride.
advice, Fred. So here's what they did next.
You're gonna love this.
The fuck? Hey, you! Jesus Christ, stop, Fred, what are you doing? When the end came for Limp Bizkit, it came quick. In 2003, Limp Bizkit released their 4th album, and at last, the haters who had been disappointed when they didn't fall down finally had their chance to gloat, as they released an album so bad that it basically killed nu metal on the spot. That record was called, not very confidently, Results May Vary. And I think they intended it to sound aggressive.
The people who like Limp Bizkit will like us even more, I think, now, and the people who didn't like us will hate us even more.
You know, like a comedy special called Trigger Warning? Like, yeah, that's right, you don't like it, you don't get it. In actuality, that title sounded pathetically hopeful. Like they knew it sucked, but hopefully other listeners would get different results. Yet another example of Fred giving away more than he means to.
Each person listening to this thing from beginning to end is gonna have a different reaction. Maybe I'll just warn.
The fuck? Oh, my shit just lagged. Hold on. What the fuck? Ah, we back.
Maybe I'll just warn everybody that the results may vary.
Unfortunately for him, results did not vary. Every single person on Earth, fan and hater.
I don't know. I feel like if you're going into an album and you're like, well, yeah, guys, I don't know. It might fucking be dog shit. It might be good. It's most likely gonna be dog shit. Like, what? Like, what do you mean you don't know if it's good? You're not even confident enough to be like, oh, yeah, this shit's gonna be the best thing ever. No, you're like, the album, it might be shit, it might be good. Like, no, like, what? You're supposed to at least be confident. This guy isn't even confident. Like, what?
Like, tore the album apart.
It might be dog shit. It might be the greatest thing of all time. Who knows?
Bizkit had
Nah,
gone
fuck
from
it.
my way to the highway overnight. What went wrong? Well, it's on us to find out, so you know what that means. All right, partner. Keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is. It's time to look at the album that ended everything for Limp
Todd
Bizkit.
finally puts on his MAGA hat.
Stuff, all right. And
We
now
all knew
it's
it was
time to
coming.
Check out the wreckage. Jesus Christ, this sucks. All right, it's time to tear this piece of shit a new starfish. So come and get it. This is Train Records.
We didn't even try with the cover, no?
In May 2002,
Bro, I can make this cover.
In May 2002, MTV News began an intensive 16-month journey with Limp Bizkit.
In 2003, MTV aired a special about the making of Limp Bizkit's Results May Vary as part of their show MTV Album Launch. Continuing a trend I've noticed that it's much more common for artists to document the making of their worst album than their best. This was a short-lived show, I think, and the couple episodes I found only run an hour long, minus commercials. But the Limp Bizkit one, meanwhile, is at least twice that long, maybe more. MTV dedicated a full 2-hour block of programming at least to a feature-length documentary about fucking Results May Vary by Limp fucking Bizkit.
Damn.
And quite frankly, I almost wish I was reviewing this instead, because everything that happens in this special is fucking mental. Like, I'm not gonna have time to talk about his Spinal Tap-esque visit to Kurt Cobain's house, and then getting Kurt tattooed on his fucking chest.
What the
But
fuck?
one thing is very clear to me about this album after viewing this documentary. From the very first moment of recording, every single member of this band knows that this record is going to be dog shit.
Fear with this record is nobody's gonna like
That's
it.
that's
So-
literally what I said before. Like, if you're not even confident that your album is gonna be good, it's most likely gonna be dog shit.
It's really gonna come true that we really do suck.
You sound pathetic.
Suck.
This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck.
But we're here to review the album, not the TV special, and I think the best place to start is at the ending of the documentary, which will basically be the start for us, the outside observer. After nearly 2 years of trying, they finally have the finishing touch for the album, the lead single.
If it was my world, that'd be the first single.
I told Fred, I told everybody in the room, I was like, that's the single right there.
And it's also the first full song on the album, so this is just everyone's first taste of the brand new Limp Bizkit record. Yeah, we're all hyped. Let's do this. Let's get rolling, 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 rolling.
You're gonna love this.
Oh boy.
Go ahead, Mike.
Wait, Wait, what the fuck's going on in this video?
Hey, you, Mrs. I don't know what the fuck your name is. I'm drawn to you. Something's magnetic here.
Ew. Well, this is off-putting. Stop. What the hell is this?
If I could approach you or even get close to the scent that you left behind,
All right.
I'd be fine.
What the
Cool,
fuck?
So this is a song about panty sniffing then? Right? Gross. Okay, so this is a song about how Fred Durst wants to have sex with the girl from Ghost World there. But like, not sex in a sexy way, in a he screams at you and insults you kind of way. Oh, Fred.
So wait, is this how like you have sex? Like you just walk up to a woman and scream at her? God damn it! I've been doing it all wrong, man.
I never knew you
All
cared.
wrong.
Hey, you, Mrs. Doing good to look my way, and that's cool. You want nothing at all to do with me.
Oh, scream at her, then dose her with water? Okay.
I'm a man and I can think what the hell I want. You got that straight.
Look, one of the things that Limp Bizkit got a lot of shit for is their attitudes towards women. They get called misogynist. You know, I'm not sure I agree with that. Like, yeah, some of their songs are angry at women, but, you know, you're allowed to be angry at women sometimes. But here, there really is not another word than misogynist.
'Cause I'm a man and I can think what the hell I want. You got that straight.
Like, not sexist, misogynist. Like, not just biased against, but actively hateful to women. It's horny, it's insulting, it's douchey, it's almost explicitly threatening. It's like after they got blamed for all the fucking rapes at Woodstock 99, he was like, no, that wasn't us making rapey music. This is us making rapey music. But he's also like preemptively defensive.
Prove the haters wrong.
To fuck you. Like, I can only imagine that some girl at an industry party saw him eyeing her from across the room, was creeped out from several yards away and moved out of his eye line, and then he went home and wrote this fucking incel screed in response. You know, I was kidding about this being...
It's kind of like Animals by Maroon 5 if it was more
there it
dog
is,
shit
explicitly.
and way
Great,
more
cool,
creepy.
love that. Why did I think Fred was capable of restraint?
And not as good
So
because it doesn't have the
one
wolf
thing you
howl.
couldn't say about Limp Bizkit is that they didn't have hooks. Like, they were not necessarily good hooks, but they had them. They were memorable hooks. And here he's just screaming. There's no riff, there's no chorus, it's just... I guess that's what they did for Faith, too, but, like, the hook there was that they were ruining a pop song for laughs. But here it's not supposed to be funny, it's just Fred going, because he's too horny. That's not what vain means, dumbass. That's not how the words... Okay, so obviously as music, this fucking sucks, but... You know, okay, hold on. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the misogyny angle. Like, maybe it's supposed to be like a look at the darkness.
Maybe misogyny is not that bad. Like what?
Just a pure depiction of the raw ugliness of the male mind. He's not good at it. Like, Eminem made way uglier stuff and it was way better, but let's not necessarily call him a douchebag over it. Like, because he's clearly depicting himself as some kind of villain in the video. Like some dirty piece of white trash who has, I guess, abducted this poor innocent girl in white. So maybe he's supposed to represent like the Wait, now what's happening? Is she supposed to be into it? Like, she seems to be here voluntarily. She's not like tied to the chair or anything. Like, he fixed up his mood lighting there and yeah, it fucking worked. She's charmed by this.
Oh, so is this like him depicting his like bipolar disorder? Like first we were screaming and now we got like all these romantic lights and shit.
Ow. And then Bill Paxton has been trying to hunt him down all video. He finally gets there and... okay, what I'm seeing is that Paxton looks down at, I assume that's his daughter, and he can tell just by the look on her face that she has been subtextually deflowered by this greasy douchebag. All right. So, yeah, this was supposed to be a successful seduction. You treat a woman like shit, you insult her, you scream at her, and then you show her your softer side, and she loves you. It's Twilight, basically. And then Fred runs away, and the video just ends. What? What
the fuck?
The fuck was that? Okay, to explain how we wound up with that as the lead single, let's go back to the start of recording and how everyone knows that this record is going to fucking suck and be a giant fucking turd and tank the band.
Nobody's gonna like it, and that we suck, and it's really gonna come true that we really do suck.
What if we can't write songs? What if we write stuff that everyone's gonna hate?
What if? What if? Okay, that's a funny clip, but that's at the beginning of the process. That's always when things are.
I find that so funny. Like them just saying, like they literally went to people say like, guys, this album is going to be dog shit, and then the album was just dog shit. I find that so funny. I think that's so funny.
The band being nervous doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they have more reasons to be afraid for this record than most. By 2002, nu metal was clearly in trouble. Albums by Korn and Papa Roach had relatively flopped. Lots of copycats had stolen their style and run it into the ground.
Some bands out there, I'm not gonna say who, but they just milked it. Hip-hop rock.
They were feeling the sands of the hourglass running down on them.
What if yesterday is all we have?
And in fact, there is one member of Limp Bizkit who was more down on the band's prospects than anyone, and he is not in this documentary.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wes Borland.
Even during the height of their hatedom, I remember critics grudgingly admitting that Wes Borland was a really good guitar player. He is also Limp Bizkit's biggest hater. One wonderful thing I've...
What is this guy, a demon?
He is also Limp Bizkit's
what is this picture?
biggest hater. One wonderful thing I've learned doing research on this is how much absolute contempt he has for Limp Bizkit, and I guess for Fred specifically, and he always seemed pretty conflicted about being there.
You know, I couldn't listen to those songs. I couldn't listen to our records, and you know, I couldn't really be proud of what I was doing.
And so finally, at the end of the chocolate hot dog era, chocolate whatever, Wes decided he couldn't take being a member of the worst band ever anymore, and he quit for good, saying he just wasn't interested in their sound anymore and he felt like a sellout.
My way or the highway.
But the thing is, this wasn't the first time Wes had tried to quit. He bailed right after they got signed, before they were famous.
Damn.
They tried it without him, but decided eventually that it didn't work and just begged him to come back.
We were like, you know, all spilling our guts out saying, we really, you know, would like you to be back in the band. We'd miss you.
So these guys already know that Wes is the secret sauce. But that, you know, that was back when they were nobodies. Now they're superstars and they can attract the top talent. So they did auditions. They did a stunt where they had open auditions at guitar centers across the country, and they auditioned literal thousands of people. And they even experimented
That's actually kind of
with Eddie
cool.
Van Halen. That's the thing that happened. But after auditioning all those people, at the end of it, they chose
me.
The right man for the job. I'm not kidding. Fred Durst said, fuck it, I'll be my own guitarist. With blackjack and hookers. The documentary lets us watch Fred Durst sucking at guitar for like 5 minutes. Eventually to get an engineer to step in and play the damn thing for him. So I don't know how long that experiment lasted, but very obviously shouldn't have started in the first place, which probably explains why the first 30 minutes of this documentary is them accomplishing fucking nothing. Fucking nothing.
I accomplished this much today.
You know what, he's always thinking. But eventually they do record something that will make it on the finished record. Now the early sessions are more hip-hop, which makes sense. They say Wes never liked hip-hop, so, you know, may as well explore that side of them more, especially since you can't really do the rock stuff without a goddamn guitar player. Anyway, the rap tracks mostly consist of him ruining every golden age hip-hop song you can think of.
Once again, back it's the incredible subliminal, the incredible D.
Incredible. Bars. Put this man behind bars, I mean. And they even get Snoop Dogg to show up.
Red light, green light. You ready to roll? Tell me when you're ready to go. Tell me when you're ready to roll. Red light.
This is 2002, so he's still a welcome presence. People haven't figured out yet that he'll do anything for $200 and a sixer of Corona.
Do all kind of shit when I was wild. They used to call me Lil Bow Wow. Now I'm Big Bow Wow when this motherfucker busting the freestyle.
Big Wow Wow.
Okay. I know that freestyling is a noble art, and it's very known that Snoop freestyles most of his verses. That's not a secret. Still, it is funny for Snoop to say right into the microphone that he did not prepare one single bit to record something for Limp Bizkit, and they put it out on a compact disc for all to hear. But apparently this was the best thing we got from these early sessions, because the doc doesn't show you all the other people they work with. Jay-Z, Bubba Sparxxx, Paige Hamilton from Helmet, Rivers Cuomo. What could that possibly sounded like? If you want to destroy my sweater, yo, come on! Like, we do see the Neptunes in the studio. I guess they were involved at one point. Al Jorgensen from Ministry produced some songs for him. He says he made Fred Durst strip naked to record to loosen him up. I think, honestly, just for the laughs. None of these people are on the final record. One other early track they managed to get in the can is called Build a Bridge.
They really got Jay-Z and they didn't put him on the record? That's crazy.
I'm not saying it's a good song, but at least it's a commercial song. Like, I could imagine hearing this on the radio next to, you know, Incubus and Stained or whoever. According to some sites, Head from Korn played on this. I think that's not true. I think Head was just another guest star who didn't make the final cut, and people just assumed that they had a real guitar player on this one since it actually sounds finished. Anyway, Build a Bridge is like
a love
ballad, I guess. Like, it could be the reason, you know, whatever. It's fine. The thing is, without this documentary, I would not have known what it was about.
I want this to be my album cover.
Ah!
This to be my album cover. Ooh. Let's go to Angelina Jolie's house.
Single now.
I know, man. She is single.
I mean, Angelina did seem to have a thing for balding assholes. Right, this song is Fred Durst trying to seduce Angelina Jolie. By all accounts, it did not get him very far.
Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit, he's been recently making public statements all over his website that he wants to court you. What do you think of that?
I've never met him.
Yeah. Just, I mean, the idea that Fred Durst was gonna get with a woman who's just about to snag Brad fucking Pitt. I mean, probably would have ended up better if he had, but wow, just so out of your league, man.
She would never go out with me, man.
Okay, one thing I realized listening to this album is that Fred Durst is a giant loser. I mean, I should have known that. He said it was the first thing I ever heard from him. What is I Did It All for the Nookie than the original Doesn't Matter Had Sex? But even post-fame, now that he's a giant rock star, successful record executive, and by many accounts a very charming, glad-handing guy in real life, he seems to just put himself in positions to look lame, especially around women.
Thora Birch, Shrine of Inspiration.
Oh, the girl from the Eat You Alive video, wonderful. Makes that video even creepier, great. Like, he's clearly using his fame to try to get with every famous woman he's ever had a crush on from afar, with an energy I can only call Drake-coded. Like, I'm not
shit,
saying
who wouldn't
I
do
wouldn't try to get
that
with
shit?
all
I'm not
my
gonna lie.
celebrity crushes either if I got famous.
Yeah,
know for
I
a
would do
fact
the
that I
same
would.
shit.
But wow, it's embarrassing to watch from the outside. Act like you've been here before, man. There's a whole segment on whatever was going on between him and Britney Spears, which, boy, I'd forgotten all about that shit, and I was happier when I had.
Goddamn. Shout out to Fred Durst.
I don't know him that well.
Like, I am not clear what happened, but Fred either thought more was happening than it was, or if something was happening, Fred made it weird very quickly. Anyway, it goes real bad. Fred goes on Howard.
He kind of
Stern
seems like a
all
gooner,
about how
low
he
key.
Totally hit that shit.
And she's definitely not the sweet little innocent.
But actually, she never.
At some point during this mess, he puts up a really ugly song called Just Drop Dead. Fantastic. That one only ends up as a bonus track, but he also writes one called Let Me Down.
Heartbreak is a headache.
Heartbreak is like a headache. Wow.
A headache, like a toothache.
A headache and a toothache. You don't say. Wowee.
I guess that you're not good enough to be with me.
cope, copity cope, cope. Like, just the most obvious, humiliating, sour grapes ass bullshit. And to be clear, he didn't even write this stuff when things started getting really ugly between them. He wrote this after Britney invited him to hang once, and he came back disappointed because I guess they didn't smash. And then he writes Drop Dead Bitch and I'm Too Good For You.
Fred Durst.
I'm too good to you.
I assume he was in the same frame of mind when he wrote this little masterpiece.
Hold up, you're moving too fast. I'm up for something that lasts. I ain't looking to screw on the first night.
See, our man Fred has learned to not be played like a chump just for the nookie.
My will is stronger than most. I will not let you get close until I think that you deserve me.
It's funny to just hear all these angry mud butt ass riffs and then he'd be like, I'm saving myself for someone special.
I'd hate to get you in bed, find out you're empty instead. No need to knock another home run out.
Getting mad at the women you fuck for being groupies who aren't special enough to marry? Yeah. Again, this is all incredibly Drakey. Gee, I wonder why you just can't seem to find that special someone, Fred. It's pretty funny to compare it with Eat You Alive, by the way, and I think this confirms that there was no irony or perspective to Eat You Alive whatsoever. It's just a very dumb man shitting out his ugliest thoughts. And this is just crazy, right? Does he have no clue what people like about his band? Limp Bizkit's fans connected with their music because they also felt like no one was listening to them, or that they got played like chumps and it made them want to break stuff. No one wants to listen to Fred being a horny douchebag who's shitty to women, not even other douchebags who are angry at women. Like, this isn't relatable. No one wants to see themselves as this version of Fred Durst. No one thinks this guy understands your pain. Okay, for the record, I told you how Wes was always too good for the band, but Fred was also kind of too good for the band. Even in the earliest profiles, he has plans to do everything. He's going to be an actor, produce TV shows, direct movies. He's a choreographer, graphic designer, record executive. He would try to do all of these things, and at some of them he would actually be very successful. But it's also the only reason I can think of that explains why he walked into this next album without a guitarist.
Do you hold all three of these down?
Yep. Like, that's just not serious.
Okay, I know he did like the Guitar Center shit, and he was like looking for a guitarist and shit. But like, were they like? Could they seriously not find like as good of a guitarist as the other guy? Like, there's so many great guitarists out there. I feel like.
I think part of it is just that he's a control freak and he wanted to prove he can do it.
Maybe
it's
just preference, maybe.
But also, I think he just lost focus because of all the other things he's trying to do. Like, I guess he was never a great lyricist, but his lyrics on this record are truly half-assed.
Hold up, check out the motherfucking TV. The same song, same bands every day. Fuck that.
Of all people complaining about seeing the same bands on TV every day. Fred, I had to plan my schedule
Screaming what the
40 minutes a
fucking
day
my
you weren't on
TV.
I'm literally watching a 2-hour MTV documentary about your worst album. Okay, because they have some actual shows coming up, they do finally have to hire a guitarist, that being Mike Smith of the band Snot. They go to WrestleMania to play what will be their first single, Crack Addict.
I'm gonna fill up my lungs with some butane, turn the mic into a flame. Damn, that's time.
And then they write and record a couple final songs with their actually finally for real guitar player, and they're amped.
So, you know,
Okay, so they did find a guitar player.
Music feels like the way I'm feeling right now. I feel more inspired.
Wow, it's almost like we should have had a permanent guitar
Wait, did
player
that
the
just say?
entire damn
Wait,
time.
did that just say
Anyway, they love the guy,
masturbation?
They love the new songs.
Oh yeah, no, it did say masturbation. Okay.
The album's finally done. They have their lead single. They have a release date.
Finally be done with this record.
They present their final last songs to their label head, Jimmy Iovine, and Iovine is just knocked out by them.
Hey, this is really extraordinarily powerful and hard, and, you know.
This nigga does not give a fuck.
It's like, wow, this stuff with the new guy's really good. Like, I mean it. Like, you want my opinion? I think you should get back in there and do more stuff with this guy and see what happens.
What everybody loves about Limp Bizkit is that it is a band. You know what I mean? So now it is. That noise sounds incredible to me.
That
I don't know if that's
noise
just how
sounds
people talk to
incredible.
the talent, or more likely this was carefully edited. But when Iovine says that the new stuff is really good, what he means is that the old stuff is really bad. And Fred very clearly understands that Jimmy is not making a suggestion.
A meeting with Jimmy, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back in and make another record.
So what do you guys think, man? Still think we should do it?
So the record is pushed back again, and they go back into the studio again to make a whole ass other record. Like, the band tries to be positive.
What? Just a whole nother fucking...
Between the
Damn.
lines, they're clearly all miserable, especially Fred. As evidence, I present you with one of the songs they write, Underneath the Gun.
How subtle.
Underneath the gun. You mean under the gun. The phrase is under the gun. Anyway, this is clearly a song about being on deadline. What you are listening to is the sound of complete and total exhaustion. And that'll actually be the last song they finish before they have to go on tour with Metallica, which for the record also goes very badly.
Limp Bizkit's here without Wes. What the f?
Like, I will say that I think I can tell which songs they did right as a full band. You can just assume it's the really heavy tracks, which, you know, admittedly do tend to be better, if still dumb as hell.
Stick 'em, stick 'em, stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em, stick 'em, stick 'em, yeah.
Should we stick 'em?
You can't play a song called Head for the Barricades when you've already been blamed for riots, man. Don't play that one live. So yeah, the new guy helps, but even still, he's not Wes. Like, I'd always heard from guitar knowers that Wes actually was really good, like just a really interesting creative player, but I don't think I really understood that until listening to the band without him. And I think they have a really underrated rhythm section too, like a lot of bounce to them, but the band is just so obviously not shit without Wes. Like, there are a lot of great bands who are led by two guys pulling in opposite directions. Usually it's the grounded one and the artsy one, and they balance each other out. Like, I'm sure new guy Mike is fine, but he's not someone who can push back on Fred, and he's not nearly as interesting. And for the record, Wes probably needed Fred too, if you want to hear what he was doing on his own. But yeah, they do get some of their swagger back. They have a song called Almost Over, which is, I think, maybe the most successful track on the record. You know, it's about how he was
not
pushed around a little kid. Now he's a grown man kicking ass. Like, that's what you want to hear from Limp Bizkit, right? Except for the chorus that undercuts it a little. See if you can sense it for yourself. The dream's almost over.
Oh, wow.
Almost
Again, how
Over
subtle.
Is basically the theme of the entire record. This is an LP about being has-been. Well, not actually has-beens, but we're like being on the verge of becoming has-beens. Will have beens. This is the only album written
Will
in
have
future
beens.
perfect tense. And once you notice it, the album becomes unbearably depressing, which is not exactly what you listen to Limp Bizkit for. Fred's just basically
This is
dying.
very
He's got
depressing.
nothing left in the tank. The band's been wrung dry. Every song sounds like a kid scribbling out an essay in the 5 minutes before the bell rings. It's rough. But at least they do finish the album. They decide to mix the best tracks of both records together into one record. I assume this is also when they picked the name Results May Vary, which had been up in the air up to that point. Like, at various points in the past 2 years, it had been called Less is More, Bipolar, and Panty Sniffer. They make the decision to release Eat You Alive as the first single, apparently to set the record for worst fucking lead single ever! Worse than Filthy, worse than Wind It Up, worse than Woman's World.
Whoa! Really? Worse than Woman's World? That's kind of like a hard Hard achievement, no?
And they finished the video
Goddamn.
in the 2 days they have between tour dates. And from what we see, it looks like they run out of time on that one too, which might be why it feels so unfinished. And they already know what the second single is going to be too. So just as we started at the end of the documentary, let's finish at the beginning. You see, right from the start of recording, Limp Bizkit knew that they were going to do a cover. And if you're going to do that, why not cover one of the best and most beloved songs in rock history? Ladies and gentlemen,
We thought we would try Total Eclipse of the Heart.
fortunately, this did not fucking happen. Their attempts to ruin Total Eclipse of the Heart never came to fruition, as they were stymied by the song's slow pace. They also considered a cover of No New Tale to Tell by 80s alt-rock band Love and Rockets, which that's an insane pick. That would have actually been interesting. But they gave up on that one too. Instead, they thought, we're Limp Bizkit. We should go with something completely and totally obvious. Behind Blue Eyes by The Who, off their legendary best album, Who's Next. I mean, I love that song.
Who's Next?
Greatest song of all time. Also, kind of a red flag if someone likes it too much.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man.
Like, let's call this what it is. It's Fred Durst wallowing in self-pity. Like, I'm sad, I'm bad, no one gets me. And let's also be clear that a cover song as a single is also a humongous red flag. Unless it's some amazing fresh take, which this isn't, it's basically note for note, then it should be left as an album track or for the greatest hits collections, not an advanced single for a studio album. Like when bands start issuing really obvious covers of the radio, that's when you know that they are running out of ideas. Okay, but now hold on, let's be fair here. Limp Bizkit covering The Who was immediately dunked on before I think anyone even heard it. Like I remember Spin and Blender and VH1 all calling it one of the worst songs of the year, worst songs ever, but I am willing to give it a shot here. I mean, this could be a brilliant decision. Behind Blue Eyes is a great song, but it's a great song by a great band. A great band that was called great by everybody. Pete Townsend wrote it as a villain song for his rock opera that he never finished, but Pete Townsend is not a villain. The Who were never villains. What if you gave it to someone who was? Like, Limp Bizkit made a lot of
Good point.
good songs. I want to say it. They wrote a lot of good songs about being vilified.
I do think about why everybody hates me probably 100 times a day.
So yeah, Behind Blue Eyes should actually hit even harder when you give it to public enemy number one, Fred Durst.
True.
And no one knows what it's like to be hated, to be faded. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be.
I gave it my best shot. This fucking sucks. Like, a lot of people said this cover was too close to the original. No, it's completely different, and for the worse. Fred Durst just does not have the depth or the gravity to handle Pete Townsend.
Gravity!
It just sounds so stupid in his voice. The original Behind Blue Eyes is the sound of a vengeful tyrant with Shakespearean gravitas, and in Fred's hands it's just the sound of a mopey frat boy.
No one knows what it's like to feel these feelings.
Like, I can't get past it. I steel man this piece of shit as best I could. Nope. And then, of course, there's the one part they do add that everyone remembers. DJ Lethal gets out his speak and spell to spell out the band's name, and it's so dumb. Like, it's a ballad, you dumbass. A ballad of pain. Don't fucking self-promote in the middle of it. It's like if Radiohead were doing Creep and then Tom York shouted, "Radiohead, motherfucker! Woo!" But to me, that's not even the problem. The problem is that this part substitutes for the part in the original where it starts rocking fuck out. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, you're a goddamn heavy metal band. If you're gonna cover The Who and not rock, what are you doing? Maybe you would have remembered you were supposed to tackle that part if you'd had an actual guitar player. Oh, right.
Yeah?
Anyway, you may have noticed that's Halle Berry in the video as a kind of cross-promotion for the movie Gothica, one of many crappy movies she made in the 2000s. I think it turns out she was the villain at the end. Or that might have been Perfect Stranger. Spoilers, I guess, whatever. You're not going to watch either of those movies. Anyway, would you like to watch Halle Berry and Fred make out for a while? Yeah, let's just watch. We all love to see it. You know, you'd think if he was gonna make out with the hottest woman alive in a video, it'd be in the song about how horny he is, and the villain song would have the video where he terrorizes a woman. But what do I know? Anyway, of all the famous women Fred was sniffing after, he seems to have gotten the farthest with Halle Berry, who seemed to genuinely like the guy.
Limp Bizkit.
Fred, oversharing on his blog like usual, was apparently hinting that this one was actually going somewhere, or at least he was until Halle announced she was getting a divorce and Fred started backpedaling that they were just friends actually. I guess he didn't want to make that situation any messier.
Had a great time together.
Had a great time.
It's a great
that's actually
chemistry.
kind of
You're gonna
smart,
see us.
low-key.
Halle Berry, woman of questionable taste. Yeah, let's watch Fred make out with her some more.
All right, come on, Todd.
Fantastic. I'm really sorry I had to remind you all of this.
Demonetized.
It's making me want to break stuff. Well, so ends the story of Results May Vary. Because those two videos dropped more or less simultaneously, and then you never heard about this record again, except watching the various YouTube videos making fun of it. It debuted at an underwhelming number 3, the reviews were even worse than usual, the singles all stiffed, the clowning was worse than ever. After the tour, Limp Bizkit parted ways with new guy Mike very unamicably, and Wes, probably needing money, rejoined, but they were never really a thing again. Now, most other nu metal bands dealt with the decline of their scene by just sticking it out, and almost all of them are still around, doing their thing. Limp Bizkit, though, didn't handle their post-peak years nearly as smoothly. Their halting reunions were very choppy, their output was sparing, Fred was probably as distracted and Wes as reluctant as ever, and some of the other guys left and returned over the years also. Eventually, though, they rebuilt themselves as a really good touring act. And when they did release more stuff, they had more self-awareness and a better sense of humor about their place in the world. And you know what? I'm happy for them. I always like a good redemption story. Oh, what do you know? He was right. We did see it his way eventually. But having to do a deep dive on their worst album really dented my image of Fred as this harmless, misunderstood mook. Like, maybe we were all exactly as harsh as he deserved.
Oh, fuck,
And
hold
even
on,
if
my
we were too
headphones just died. The fuck?
Harsh,
We
that
back.
doesn't make Results May Vary anything but a creatively done act with nothing left to say. I need some haterade. I mean, try this stuff, it's really good.
More of a Powerade kind of guy.
What? Come on! Yeah! Okay, that's enough. But speaking of haterade, I know you guys love to hate things as much as I do, and have I got a show for you. It's called Abolish Everything, where 4 comedians compete for the right to remove their pet peeve from the entire universe, and whoever can make the strongest case wins.
Abolish the dentist?
It's a comedy debate.
So that guy's like a fucking one of the British people, of course.
Entire universe, and whoever can make the strongest case wins. It's a comedy debate, audience participation show like they used to
Abolish
put on cable
stretching.
television before that all collapsed.
Shut your bitch ass
So
up.
imagine seeing your most hated pet peeve, badly trained dogs, that one song you hate, sketchy online mental health services.
Anxiety.
Imagine seeing people
Keep on
compete for the right
trying
to
me.
legally ban it from existing, and you get to be the judge. That's the joy of Abolish Everything, and you can watch that on Nebula, along with all its other original shows.
Wow.
Nebula's home to some of the most creative, thought-provoking, and just plain fun content you won't find anywhere else. No ads, early access, and a growing library of exclusives. So if you want to watch Abolish Everything and a ton of other amazing Nebula originals, use my link to get 40% off. That's just $36 a year or $3 a month. That's a great value, and you'd also be helping me, which I appreciate.
Wow.
So click the link, scan the QR code, and start watching now. Thank you, and good night.
Wow. Wow. Sounds like a great deal. Alright, guys, what did you think this Trainwreckers video? Low-key, it's just, I don't know. Look, man, as I said before, like, what was the point of the album being made? You know what I'm saying? Like, Look, man, if you know it's gonna be dog shit, why put it out, you know? I don't know. It's just kind of stupid. Like, I don't know. It might be good. It might be dog shit. Like, obviously, it's gonna be dog shit. Let's be honest. But yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. Go subscribe to Tiny Shadow. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to my second channel. Subscribe. Follow me Twitter.